In our music business tip today, I will be discussing how to start a record label from scratch. When I first started my music business, right, my record label, I didn't have time or money. And what I mean by that is that I didn't have the time to like figure out how does it work, right? So once I have a company, how does it work in the music business? What's the process? And then I didn't have the money to hire experts to kind of mentor me through that process. So those two things were where I struggled with the most, but I'm gonna help with giving you a blueprint in this video of what you need to do, how to get started, and how you're gonna crush it, okay? So before we jump into it, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you subscribe on Top Music Attorney YouTube so you don't miss any videos helping you with your music business. So number one, when it comes to how to basically start a record label from scratch, I'm always going to say you gotta get a limited liability company. A limited liability company or an LLC can be just you. Okay, it can be made up of one person, it could be a couple people. I have a lot of bands who will start an LLC for the band, and each member is a member of that company. So then they have their own music company. So you want to start an LLC, you can do this yourself. That's the beautiful thing, right? So you usually look up the filing through your Secretary of State of where you live, and then you file the paperwork. It's usually pretty inexpensive. Where I live, the filing fee is like $50. So it's really not crazy. And you want to go ahead and do that if you are going to get assistance. You can use outlets like LegalZoom. I mean, my law office does this, but honestly, I want you to save money. I want you to get what you need to get as quickly as possible. So if you need some help, check out LegalZoom. So that's number one. As soon as you file to have your LLC, you can actually start using it. And what does that mean? Well, when you're actually using the LLC, that means you are doing your contracts and signing them as the LLC, which means the LLC, which is like, a little bubble of protection around you so that if something happens, the LLC gets sued, you don't get sued. Very, very important first step. So you sign as the LLC, never sign as your individual self or individual selves if there's multiple people in the group. So that's number one. Number two is you typically do want to get that mentor or an attorney. Okay, find that resource so that you can have the assistance. As soon as you have to do a deal, you got to make sure you have a contract 100% of the time. And even today, right, I run a real law office. I've done this for 8 years. And one of the biggest problems that we run into is that people don't have contracts and they don't have someone to help them when a problem, a unique kind of problem, comes up. Okay, so number one, get an LLC. Number two, get your contract templates and then have an attorney on call. You don't want to have to always call the attorney, right? But you want to have someone that you trust. Okay, you want to have that shark that's going to come to bat and make sure you don't get screwed, make sure you don't lose money. It's going to be such a good investment of your time finding that right person who fits with what you're doing. Number three, you're going to jump into marketing. When it comes to marketing your record label, this is how you let people know what you're doing. This is how you are going to get artists to want to work with you. And this is how you're going to find artists as well. Now, the great news and my little homework for you guys is just to start executing, right? So you got the LLC, you find the attorney, you pick the name for your label, and then you're gonna go get your usernames on social media. Make sure the social media usernames are all the same, okay? Don't have them different on different platforms. It should be the exact same username for every single social media platform. And by the way, you can go get those social media handles now. You don't have to start posting. Don't freak out. You'll be okay. Just go and actually get the handles so you actually own them, okay? And then you will have to start posting. And so you have to figure out strategies, which I can help you with, but you have to figure out strategies on what you're posting, how often you're posting, the best tactics. And the good news is that this can be very simplified because I'm someone that runs a law firm, that runs a record label, that has, an online business. Like I have all kinds of things happening and I have been able to find time to do this. So if I can do it, you can definitely do it. We got the attorney. We're starting to market. Now we need to sign artists. The beautiful thing about starting your own business is that you can build something around just yourself, or if you're a band, around your band. You don't need to go not hire, but to sign artists to actually build the label. You can build your own empire around just you. And we've seen a lot of artists do that and do it really well. So if that's what you want to do, cool, but you still need to go through all these steps. Some people get a little confused with the words record label because they're like, that means now I need to build this thing and sign all these artists and I don't want to work with artists. They're the worst thing on the planet. You might be right. But when we say label, all we're saying is your own music business. Doesn't matter what you do in the music business. If you are just doing sync licensing, if you are doing publishing, if you're doing live performances, right? I have a client who gets paid like $70,000 a month through his live shows. And that's prominently what he likes to do. If artist development is something you're into, beautiful. What a lot of people miss is that they need to understand the music business first, okay? Before you can do anything, you have to understand and be in a mindset that you are a music business, and then actually take steps to formalize yourself as a music business. And then from there, that's how you start to discover where it's profitable to do business in the music industry, okay? And there is insane money being made. I had someone who was like, well, aren't record labels dying out and and I'm like, sure, some of them are. But what we're finding more often is that independent artists, independent labels, and even the majors are pivoting. They're not just necessarily signing as many artists as possible. They're hyper-focusing on the thing that is actually making money. They're focusing on merchandising. They're focusing on making money through social media and Reels and TikToks. This applies to everyone across the board. Okay, and then we want to build your team. So if you are just starting, it's just you, or it's just you and your bandmates, that's where you start. That's not where you stay. After you have the backbone of your company in place, you hire contractors. And guess what? Before you hire someone, you have to get a contract in place with the contractor to make sure they don't go and steal your logos and steal all the stuff that you guys developed together. Another big misstep, or I should say misstep. You know what I'm trying to say. And part of that team can also be the investors, right? So you need someone who's going to pay to help build the thing. Sometimes that's you, right? Sometimes you're going to bankroll this whole thing because you have your day job, and that's where that's the source of the funds that's going to be used to pay as you start to build. That's great. Sometimes it's smart to get investors who will help to pay to sign artists if that's what you want to do, who will help to get the merchandise, right? If that's something that you want to do. I have very successful music businesses where they prominently focus on selling merchandise, and they are very smart and they make crazy money. If it's something that you are interested in, those are the key ingredients to building your record label and your music business. And then, like I said, it is so important. You learn the business, you learn how to build properly, you get your contracts into place, and then from there you can figure out where your passion is. What is it that you want to do? What do you need to hyper focus on to build, to actually make that 5 to 6 figure income, which is actually very, very feasible. And it is for the majority of our students. And so, I haven't actually announced this publicly, but I'll just tell you guys since I'm doing this. We started a 60-day record label program this month. And I've been looking and working with a small group of music business entrepreneurs who want to go through this process, but they're kind of stuck, right? So they don't know about the music business. They don't know where to start. They don't know how to do this and actually make money because they think it's just a dream. And they think people in the music business aren't making money. I tell you, I do this full time. There are people crushing it. And a lot of them are independent. So in any case, I'm doing this case study because we're going to launch the 60-day record label program. And so the people in the case study, I'm going to be working with directly. And so what I do in the program is that I teach my complete process over this 8-week cycle. And I'm teaching the exact sequence of how to build your music business, aka your label for yourself, and to do it in a way that's actually going to generate those 5 to 6 figures a year. So for me, I really felt like something that was missing from my experience is that kind of like someone holding my hand through the process. And that's what I do now for my students, right? So I'm holding your hand, I'm guiding you through the system. And what I'm doing is I'm giving my students the actual feedback and the accountability to accelerate the progress, right? So as you're getting through these different steps, it's really helpful that you have an actual music attorney, right? An actual person who is in the music business who has a record label overseeing all of the steps. So what's happening is that when we did the first pass of this, our students, once they get to that 60-day mark, they have a fully formed and operational record label that either is or is set up to start generating that 5 to 6 figures for them annually, which is so cool. And we've really had some amazing case studies. We've had like over 100 students in our program who are kind of just crushing it. So in any case, I haven't announced this other than in this segment, in this video. So if you guys are interested, I'll make sure that my show producer drops that link down in the description below. There are bonuses that come if you want to join the program. If you want to work with me and have me overseeing you developing your music business, there are contract templates that come with it. I give you explanations so you know exactly how everything works. So when it comes to you understanding your marketing, having that oversight of an attorney, getting your LLC set up, learning how to sign artists. But then the most important piece of this, right, is once we got you set up, How do we make money? And that's a very big piece of what I teach all of my students. So I wanted to make sure to give you guys all of that. Check it out. Link down below. Don't forget to like this video, and I will see you guys on the next one.